This is Kay.
And this is Jay.
And this is the Band Pod. The final episode. All right, this week we're going to talk practice and how to practice. We're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to make practicing a little bit more fun, some things that have helped us in the past, and then we're going to talk a little bit about show at the end, and that'll be it. A little bit of a shorter episode. So what do you got, Jay?
So specifically when we talk about practicing, I feel like it's just this word we throw around and we think it means, hey, go home and play your horn. It could mean, and it used to when I was in high school, go home and practice meant, hey, go home and just play. I never had any specific goal in mind until I got to college. And then Dr. Chris Probst was he just kind of helped me understand it a little better. So it's when we say practice, we don't necessarily mean, hey, just go home and play, or hey, go home and work on this measure. There's so many things you can work on. You just have to specifically target them. So specifically, if you're struggling with runs, go home, play that run. And the best thing you can do is play it slow. Okay. If you're struggling with articulation, go home and, try to play staccato articulation 100 times in a row. It's just, you've got to be very, very specific, and you don't want to just overload yourself and maybe, hey, I'm bad at, Vesuvius, okay? I'm bad at the entire piece of Vesuvius and I need to learn it. You could go home, and don't get me wrong, you could hammer away at it for day after day after day and on just the entire thing. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to get better at this one part that appears, 15 times through. Maybe it's, it's got a ton of just articulation in it and a ton of these repetitive licks. You could just work on those a little bit at a time and just specifically focus, and that'll carry over to the rest of that piece specifically and then onwards to everything.
I think what you touched on with the goal, being goal oriented is important, and it doesn't need to just be in the practice room or when you're practicing. You always need to have a goal in mind of what you want to accomplish. So, and I think the important thing to remember when you're practicing is it doesn't have to be intense, and it doesn't have to be not fun, okay? But if you have a goal in mind, all right, practicing gives you a purpose, and it doesn't have to be long. As soon as you accomplish that goal, then you can move on. And another thing you touched on is slowing it down.
Yeah, that was if I was going to number my tips, that was going to be my big old tip number one was if you play things slow and then slowly speed them up, you'll get it way quicker than if you just try to play it fast over and over and over and over.
Right, and also think about the fact that if you practice something and you're not 100% sure on it, and you're practicing it fast over and over and over again, what if the rhythm's wrong? And now you've practiced this 15 times in a row, and that's imprinted in your brain. So then you have to go back and you have to relearn it, and then you've got to slow it down, and it's twice as long in the process. So if you really don't want to take long practicing, get it right, slow it down, and get it done as quickly as possible. And that's the way to kind of streamline that process. And like I said, guys, you don't have to go into it thinking like it's a practice session. All right, if you pick up your horn for 15 minutes, I want you to think about what you're going to accomplish in that 15 minutes.
Yeah,
right? Go for it.
Something that was a huge help to me was practice journals, which was just, I would log, hey, today I played for 30 minutes. 20 of those I worked on this. 20 of those I worked on this. So it could be I was pulling an etude out of a book, or it could be, hey, I was just running all 48 scales, trying to get them down. And then specifically when I was learning scales, it was hey, on this day I worked on this scale and this scale and this scale. Maybe 3 scales for 5 minutes, just running them slow and quicker. And so it not only helped me just have sort of a timeline to say, hey, okay, I've already done this should be good, and map out how I should budget my time when I'm practicing. Specifically, if you can't just sit around and play for 5 hours a day, either because you don't have the stamina or you don't have the time. It also helped me with just kind of I felt like I was making progress more than anything. I could see, hey, maybe I had a bad day playing. I could look back at this journal and I could be I've done all this week. Maybe it's okay I didn't make as much progress today, because you can see these kind of like plateaus form almost. Like you'll get better and better and better and better, and then maybe for a week you'll just fall off. And then after that, you'll get through that plateau. You'll break through that like wall that you can't get through, and then you'll get better and better and better and better. So definitely keep a practice journal. It's super, super helpful. If you're trying to become any sort of music major in college, or if you're just trying to be really good at this, keep a practice journal.
And there's no misconceptions here. We know you guys, you're busy with school, you're busy with stuff at home, and we understand that sometimes you just can't, like, for a very long period of time. So that's why we're trying to come up with some ways for you to maximize your time. Like, for instance, in college, all right, and this was for both of us and anybody who majors in music. For our recital, we were practicing. I know I was practicing 4 or 5 hours a day, and that was not including like the ensembles we're playing in, jazz band and concert band and marching band and everything like that, practicing on top of that. So probably, we were playing 6-7 hours a day just trying to prepare for this, hour-long recital that we had. We don't expect stuff like that, okay? That's a little bit more advanced, obviously, but the same techniques that helped us can help you. So what I want you to think about is that when you practice, make sure it's right. I want you to slow it down, okay? And I want you to make sure that whenever you pick up the horn, it's productive, all right? Percussion, whenever you pick up the sticks, it's productive. You need to check the rhythms. You need to check the notes, all right? And make sure that everything is 100%. And guess what? As soon as you get that down, move on to something else. Put the horn down, take a break, play a video game. You can do whatever you want to. Just make sure that when you pick it up, every single time, it's productive. On another note, the show is out. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, a lot of that should already be up on the mgmband.com site. So speaking of practicing, you've got something to work on. We'll be getting in touch about when we can meet over the summer and what we can do over the summer. I know we're going to have dates coming up on the 13th. If you're listening to this before May 13th is going to be an instrument equipment pickup day. Some of that information will be coming out this week. As soon as we get some more, we will let you know what we can do with that. Other than that, I don't think we've got much.
No, make sure you do check the website, because not only do you need to register for band, but also check out the dates that we've got up there. Obviously, that's contingent upon what happens. Obviously, this is going to be very fluid, and we're just going to have to work with what we've got this year. Obviously, we miss you guys too, and we're looking forward to getting back together again, getting the band back together again. It should be a fun time once we do. Anyway, that's it for the Band Pod. Like we said, short, simple, sweet, and this is the final episode.
Get your stuff turned in, enjoy your summer, and we'll see you when we can.
This is Kay.
And this is Jay.
Signing